Hello, what up, what up? Trusty Ape, Mr. Chaos. Doing a short one, having some technical difficulties. What else is new? The weather's good. Uh, Life's doing well. I took the last couple nights off and spent them at the local drinking establishment. Um, People watching, doing what I do. Um yeah. Other than that, just trying to stay on the straight and narrow, as they say. Stay on the straight and narrow. Decide what my next moves are. What's up, Cat? Good to see you. Yeah. Um, hello, friend. Um, get a lot of those. Get a lot of those. One thing I'm learning is when you leave work. As in, leave it there, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep thinking about stuff sometimes. What's up, Jody? Good to see you. Save that stuff for your therapist and your boss, because my boss has to read all those reports too, But let me tell you an interesting story. Now, yeah, maybe it might make an interesting story. But yeah, that's my story. I'm drinking indoors tonight and running this lovely room that, well, I suppose I've got a bit of time. If anybody wants to come talk. Well, this we might play chess. I was playing some chess last night. I whooped some ass. I whooped some ass. I'm probably playing with like a 14-year-old or something. I'm proud of myself over here. I'm whooping ass in online chess. uh, Somebody made a fake Germania profile on chess.com to befriend me, I guess. Or Germania doesn't want to admit to being on chess.com. One or the other. I'm not sure. Uh, Whatever the case may be. Still waiting for a formal challenge. Germania, I don't know that guy. Who, Paulogia? I'm looking at, I got a call on a room. There's a room that's slightly closer to work. Okay, cool. Uh, be lovely to have you, Cat. Yeah, so I'm looking at renting a room. It's from, I guess, an older woman, it sounds like, but the room's like detached from the house, or it's like the garage is converted or something like that. Just fine with me. And so, yeah, if that works out, that'd be cool. And I met a nice young woman at the bus stop, and she's been pretty friendly. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Just things that happen in life, right? So I'm considering my career options, like long term, long term. I think in the long term, and I suppose it's appropriate to just bounce it off of people here, as I'm doing. I work as a security guard, right? And so that's all right. I make okay money doing that, but advancement is slow in security, and I've been doing it for quite a while, but I just started with the company I'm with, so trying to figure out how to move up quickly. I have this opportunity, possibly. I've applied to work for the local transit agency, who I'm also contracted with as a security. I don't think there's a conflict of interest there. Um, I'm not sure. Not sure how that works. Um, and so I've got like two long term options beyond that, which is one, I've already gone with this Department of Corrections thing. Go in there, become a CO, maybe, if they'll still have me. All of this is up in the air pending this, right? Because, they're watching this type of stuff, and this is probably going to come up if we ever even have a meeting. This is probably going to be in that meeting. I'm going to have to explain all of this because they pay attention to shit like that, right? And then, right, so I can go into that or go to the transit authority and try to become a transit supervisor. And they basically do what I do. Like, they just go around, but they go to all the different stops and stuff, solving problems and, trying to fix shit and make sure the buses are running.
Hold on. Is there any echo or anything on my end? Can you hear me through me?
You sound good to me. You're a little very last part, but I heard almost everything you said up until the very last
I
word.
put my finger over my microphone. How does that sound now?
Oh, you're great.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful. I would say, look, the world isn't free unless there's no correctional officers, there's no prison wardens. That's just my personal gutter punk scumfuck opinion.
Wait. Is that... Oh, so don't be part of the correctional system, is what you're saying.
Unless you got the ability to change from... If you have the gumption to change it from the inside, my God, man, my fellow queer, my fellow punk,
Isn't that what the good guys do?
Sometimes, yes. And if you can do it, my God, you have my blessing, and I will give you everything I have to help you do that.
All right. Appreciate that. Well, yeah, it's like, how much good can you do as a CO unless you work up to, like something like a prison warden where you're really redefining the institution, right? But
yeah, well, even then, if it's a private prison,
Oh, yeah, then you're fucked. No, I'm talking about the state-run ones, at least.
Okay, yeah.
In California, so we're a little more progressive. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, I forgot for a minute you're in California. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have less horrible... Okay, I forget I'm in New York all the time. Like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm in the Midwest. We have all these prisons where they make people go do mining work for 17 cents a day. I forget that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, even here, they're constantly fighting for higher wages, but I think here they get commissary that otherwise they would be like, I don't know whether it would be readily available. Like, it's free in our institutions, whereas it's stuff you would have to pay for at other institutions. Like,
damn.
I don't know if I understand the system correctly, but yeah, I'm not. That's a whole other level of stuff I don't get. But yeah, the convict politics. Like, once you listen in on them, it's like, yeah, the shit you will do for a fucking, like, a pack of top ramen or something like that.
Yeah. I'm very glad I've never been in prison. To be fair, if I was in prison, I'd just, be like, hey, there's a pocket open.
Yeah.
Because, realistically, like, I'm, not a small person. I'm like 5'8" and pushing 280 pounds, but like, there ain't no way in hell I'm gonna fight that fucking 7 foot tall, 400-pound dude and win without, losing, use of my arm and a few teeth. Like, it's not a fight.
Same here. Like, I'm considered to be like a smaller guy. I'm not like super small, but I'm, not quite, I'm a little smaller than average, but
yeah,
I don't know. I've just always had that, like, I think if I go into prison, the first thing I'm doing is I'm getting a shank. That's it, like, because I know what I'm going to end up, That's my first move. What are you going to say? Hello? I've completely lost audio if you're speaking. Can you hear me now? Chat? Do you hear Cat? Cat's gone. Ah! May have had a slight interruption. I'm getting a shank. Well, you gotta get a shank. I mean, if you're gonna be incarcerated, But I don't even know where to go with that conversation because I'm not ganging up, So that's the first thing. Because if you gang up, then you're set in, right? And then you got to go either that or you go to the chaplain or you go solitary. And when you're solitary, there's always a chance you can have a target put on you. And you just have to run with that. That's my knowledge of any prison you're in. Like that's how it works. So, but yeah, you don't want to get involved in all that fucking bullshit, politics, drama. Keep your head down, do your time, all that good shit. Oh, Cat's back.
I'm sorry. I live in a motel and randomly the internet decides that I need to sign in using the password, which is incredibly annoying because I've been living here for like 9 months. I don't know, probably almost a year actually. I've been here in this motel and like randomly it'll go days without doing it, and then it'll be like, hey, I see you're in the middle of a stream. Fuck you.
Oh, that's maybe they like reset the router every so often or something.
I don't have access to the router. It's like
no, but I mean the hotel maybe they do.
Oh, maybe they do. Yeah. I don't know because it's completely random. Because sometimes it's like 6 p.m. Sometimes it's like 2 in the morning. Sometimes it's like, hey, 2 in the afternoon. Go fuck yourself.
Because I've thought about that. Like the low budget hotels, they don't have a good Wi-Fi protection. I've noticed. Like there's no password or anything when I stop in there. So I'm like, oh yeah, I could just like sit in the parking lot for a little bit and use this Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna notice.
The Wi-Fi protection here is literally just typing in the address.
Nice.
I mean, hey, it's pretty good. Hey, look, I am very against landlords, but this place does pretty good because they let people like me pay their rent and live their life and not bother us. So when the revolution eventually happens, they get to live.
So I like that debate. Wait. Who controls property if not landlords? Who do you think should control property? Or how do you think that should work? Like that line of reasoning.
It should be personal property, not private property. Private property is theft. Private property is inherently theft, in my opinion. Because, like, private property is, like, company. That's corporation. That's, that's bullshit. Personal property is, hey, this is where I live. This is where I do my shit. Fuck off. And yeah, go ahead.
You're okay with like private individuals owning property and renting them out. You don't like the corporate scheme when they buy up properties and do it that way. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I don't like renting in general. I think, well, the problem is we live in a society where the older generations, the much older generations bought up all the properties with like 3 nickels and a handful of blackberries, and not
Right.
the smartphones, like actual berries. And then they're renting them out for exorbitant prices. So I think that's kind of bullshit. That's kind of my take on that. I don't really think anyone should be renting shit out because that's not a job, but then they act like it's a job. It's like, okay, but come on now. You're just a rich person complaining about things where you have to fix things for other people, other problems that you actually need to fix, and you don't want to fix them. Like, calm down.
So are you like full Marxist? Like you think these properties should be divided up equally by the government to make sure everybody has accommodations?
I'm more in the anarchist camp. I don't really follow Marx. I'm more
Oh
of,
wait, so if you can take it, it's yours, and if you can defend it, you can keep it.
no. I'm not anarcho-capitalist.
Okay.
I'm a positive anarchist. Okay, so the world I want, we don't need cops, we don't need landlords, we don't need bosses. We just work and we help each other out. Like someone who has food and someone who has blankets. Like the person who has food might be cold, the person who has blankets might be hungry. You just trade them. It's all good. I mean, that's a dream at the bottom of my bottle, but you know.
Yeah, it sounds like very much like utopia, but then like you've got to have a guarantee that you're never going to have anybody misbehaving, like harming other people, like doing something right, because then that's the only
Yeah,
reason
it's a
you need a cop
dream.
in the first place.
Yeah, well, I told you it's a dream at the bottom of a bottle. But I mean, I generally landlords I think are for the most part lazy pieces of shit who have
Oh yeah,
land and I'm not really a big fan of most of them, but I guess
many landlords seem to cut the corners to do as little as they can for their residents, and that is a fact. I
yeah.
want to say hello to Ox, and yes, I love soup. I think minestrone is my favorite type of soup. Yes.
Hello, Ox. Yeah, I mean, I've had good landlords. I've also had really fucking awful landlords. I mean, I lived in the Midwest. I got evicted on a 3-day notice for being trans because that's legal in some places.
So, yeah, I've dealt with a lot of apartment living. So, um, I'll say like I transitioned from one apartment I was in where they were super strict. I had the security guards bust in, like literally, like bust into my residence. Like, we're searching your residence. I'm like, you're not even a fucking cop, dude. This was long before I ever did security. So I didn't know how to defend myself properly. But he was like, well, we'll get the sheriff's department out here, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool beans. Let him search my place, like, whatever. They ended up having my grandma's car towed that was bestowed to me. It was the only thing she left me in her will. Out of my designated parking spot, they had the car towed without notice, and they never asked me, like, "Hey, is that car supposed to be there?" No, like they just put a tag on it, and boom, it was out.
Oh yeah.
So that happened. But then at the next place that I was at, um, the apartment manager there actually saved me from an eviction because I should have rightfully been evicted. And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to forget to put it in this month's, whatever. And like, as long as you get your stuff out, we're not going to give you any kind of notice. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've had both experiences like almost back to back. So I don't know. Like, there's
I actually I used to have the best fucking landlord. Um, he okay. So now imagine me pre-transition, like 5'8", 340 pounds, 10% body fat, right? Just this hulking meat monstrosity. This absolute fucking flesh golem of a human, right? I did nothing. I didn't have internet. I didn't have TV. All I did was listen to the radio, drink beer, and do push-ups, right? And sit-ups and run and bike and work out. That's all I did. I worked, and then I worked out, and then I went to bed and woke up and did the same every day. And like, I was walking, it was like just down the hill. It was like a block. It was a city block, but where I was living, it was actually like 3 blocks. But it's less than half a mile there. I'm walking to the liquor store. Well, it's actually a gas station, but I'm walking there, and I, grab my bag of chips in the gas station part. And then I walked to the beer part, and I bought my 6-pack. And there's this chick in front of me, and I'm walking behind her because I'm walking to my place. She's going in the same direction. And this chick goes, she's walking, we're going in the same direction. And she walks down my dark alleyway. And I do too, because I live in that dark alleyway. And then I turn at my fence. Like, I'm thinking, like, hey, maybe there's some new person who moved in. That's neat. Maybe I'll say hi or something. And then I turn at my fence and immediately get pepper sprayed in the fucking face.
Oh, that sucks.
She called the cops because I was stalking her. I was following her. And I'm on the ground, leaned up against my own fucking car, by the way. And she's holding a pepper spray can right up to my face, calling the cops. Cops come there. Mind you, the front of my house is directly across from a fire station. If she would have walked straight 150 feet, she could have been safe if she thought I was stalking her. But she walked directly in the in the 4-foot wide space between my Jeep and my fence, and hid there. And like, I feel bad for
nothing to you. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, if you think somebody's stalking you, like, turn and say, what's up? Oh, hi.
Well, no.
Like,
Well, the thing is, like, I understand it's in a bad area. It's in a bad part of town. I'm large. I'm weird looking. I get it. But also, at the same time, it's like, this is my house, though. You know what I mean? And, like, they called my landlord, like, because I gave him their number. I gave him my landlord's number. And, like, I tossed the cops my keys. And I'm like, check the car. It opens up the lock. The little key opens up the back door right up there. Go up the stairs, use it. I live here. I'm not fucking stalking this lady. She just walked to my house. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I'm just walking back to my house. I was just buying beer and chips, man. And my landlord had to come out and be like, yeah, no. Motherfucker did nothing wrong. They live here. They've been renting here for months.
So wait,
they did nothing.
Did you press charges, or did they give you an opportunity to press charges?
I didn't press charges because, look, it's in the bad part of town. So, like, I really don't blame the girl. Like, if I really think she should have just walked to the fire station, but I don't know if she knew the fire station was there because there's a corner. So, like, where I was living, if you walk straight up the hill and you go down the alleyway that's, like, straight up the hill, that's the back of my house, which I go into because the front door doesn't work. But if you keep following the road, it curves around to the front of my house, which is directly across from the fire station. I don't know if she knew the fire station was there. So it's like I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I didn't
this
press
reminds
charges.
me. This reminds me of a situation I had at work. Okay, so you just gotta like, it's got the memory hook or whatever. Like, where I'm like, okay, so in this situation, what's the one thing she didn't do? Well, she didn't stop to say anything to you or address the situation. She just pulled the pepper spray. Like, she had the pepper spray in her hand. She could have said, "Are you stalking me?" Or whatever. Like, didn't say anything. Just freaking maced you, right? And so, and this reminds me of a situation I'm in where I was watching a person, a woman who was walking around my bus station. I was kind of curious about what she was doing, but I was following at a distance. And at some point, I turned a corner and she was there in the blind spot. She goes, "Are you following me?" And I just smiled and I said, "No." And I kept walking. You know what I mean? But I was like, okay, that was a situation where she could have tried to mace me. I was wearing glasses, but you know, uh, but I wasn't following her. I was on my patrol, and I was like, I wonder what she's doing. And then I turned a corner, and all of a sudden, she's there, like lurking. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, she totally thought I was stalking her. But I'm, like in uniform, professional, all that shit. So.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, I was wearing like basketball shorts and a tank top and flip flops, so. I mean, it wasn't like, I was going to be chasing her. I'm wearing flip-flops. But also, I had arms, around the size of fucking Terry Crews arms at the time. So, like, like, I get it. Like, I don't blame her. I just think there's a lot of other actions she could have taken. She also got her keys stuck in me because she had one of those anti-rape keychain things.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and it got stuck. So they had to take that out of me. And I'm like, look, I get it. She was in the bad part of town. I don't blame her. I mean, I'm really upset because like one of my bottles of beer got broke. And that hurts me personally, but like I'm not gonna press charges. Was
this pre-pandemic? I'm wondering.
Yeah, this was way pre. Okay, this was 2015. I want to say.
I've been so much more mindful when I travel about like keeping arm's length with people and stuff ever since that. Like, just my personal bubble has expanded, and it's not like I'm not a super germaphobe, but as far as the way I conduct myself around people, I'm always like, when somebody gets in my bubble, I start to get a little unnerved now more than before, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. So even like when I'm traveling, like I will literally just walk across the street, like if it's an empty like residential street, just to avoid passing somebody if they're like walking, taking up the middle of the sidewalk or, whatever, something like that. Where, like a lot of people will pass very closely. And I'm like,
oh yeah. Oh, this is in Wisconsin. So there's, in stores, you will pass super close to people and be like, oh, sorry. Right? But on the street, there's a very wide berth usually. Like if you're walking down the sidewalk, you both cross opposite sides if you're walking at each other. And I was doing my best because like I have a limp. I have a limp, and it's easier for me to walk quickly than it is to walk slowly. So I try, if I'm behind a woman, to not, walk my normal speed that I want to, because to be quite frank, it sounds like an asthmatic werewolf is coming up behind you if I'm walking my normal. And, you just smell the vague scent of beer and wintergreen chew. And I imagine that's probably horrifying for anyone, woman or man, if you just hear and smell that. I get it.
Sure, it's not all that bad.
It is. It really is. I frighten people. Okay, anyone who knows me is not the most like remotely threatened by me, but if you see me in a dark alleyway, I get it. Like I'm a very like I'm not tall, but I'm fairly built. I mean, I bike 10
Well,
miles a day.
I'm told I give off that vibe, even though I'm like a small, unassuming guy. Like I'm shy, I'm quiet. That's part of the reason that like people like think I'm a psycho, and I'm a little bit of a
Yeah.
psycho. Not like in the really really bad way, but yeah, there's some whatever shit there, but but like that's the vibe that I seem to tend to give off. Like people tell me I look unapproachable. I look agitated when I'm like not agitated. You know what I mean, or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's like the way I've learned to conduct myself, so that I think it's like a defense, so that people don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like it's the counter bully tactic type of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you get a bit of that going on.
Okay, I already have the whole thing where you just described, but add like a very obvious limp and like one arm that doesn't move with the rest of my body and one squinty eye. It's horrifying if you see that in a dark space. I am not a threat. I am not going to do anything to anyone. But I can understand because like I look like I've been through hell and back, and like I'm going to mug you to death or something. Like I look like I'm going to do horrific shit. I get it. But like also, I am the most harmless person you'll ever meet. Like I don't want trouble. I'm just fucking living my life, man. I
I work in the customer service. That's what I do, customer service. I just happen to be licensed by the state of California. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be a gate guard. That was probably the fucking easiest shit I've ever done.
Yeah, no, there's like really
super
there's
easy.
really easy security gigs, and then there's more
awful ones.
There's awful ones. There's some of them are just really like you could segue straight into law enforcement if you're a young person and you're doing it right. Like that's one way. And then there's like the spot I'm at, like doing healthcare security is a lot more like just kind of really basic community oriented stuff, which I think I'm geared more towards, like just helping people get where they're going safely and, try and, not to be that asshole security guard, you know what I mean? And balance that out.
Oh, I hated, okay, like my favorite security jobs were working with like, special needs people at like, workplaces where it's like, hey, it's a bunch of special needs people and like people who just got out of jail or, we're hiring homeless people. I did fucking phenomenal at those because it's like, hey, I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm going to talk to you like you're a real human. I'm going to talk to you like a person. I'm going to treat you like a person. No matter what, if you're special needs, just got out of jail, you're homeless, whatever. You're a person. I'm going to treat you like a person. And I really excelled in that. And but everyone's just like, hey, so when are you gonna join the police? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Jew. I'm not really a big fan of pork. And then I never went to a real company.
That's one of the reasons I lean towards correctional officer. Honestly, because a good friend of mine who's I think I safely say he was, at least, I don't know if he's still practicing or within the church, but he's a Mormon when I met him. and he is the first guest that I ever had on here on the Trusty Ape podcast. Um, he's a correctional officer, really good guy, and we get along fantastically. And he kept telling me like how fulfilling his job was, and that really like the cops get to be the bad guy, and most of the time he's just the guy who gets to sober them up and get them back on their feet, and he gets to be the good cop and be the nice guy. And that
Yeah.
kind of sounded cool to me. It's like, yeah, this guy's had a really bad day, and let's just figure out what whatever like. And it's the same with cons who are in prison, right? They're going to be
Yeah.
there for a while because they did some bad shit. You just got to help them get through it, and like look at it that way.
I mean, I personally am very I'm very anti-American prison, just because I think there's a lot of punishment without any rehabilitation. And that might just be because I'm from the Midwest and we have a lot of private prisons.
So I think we can safely agree, yeah, down with private prisons. Like we need oversight, and the government needs to really be involved in and making sure that these are not, basically, slow executions, right? Or we're basically daring these guys to kill each other.
Yeah. Well, my cousin got arrested for, quote, attempting to sell drugs on school property. He was across the street from a high school at a gas station, filling up gas, and the cops came to his car, and he had like 2 grams of weed. Not like in a baggie, like strewn about his car, like underneath the, floor mats, and like in the, side parts of your car and shit like that. They found 2 grams of weed and charged him and gave him like 4 years because that's intent to sell if you're that close to a school. And it's like, okay, but it was 8 p.m. on a Saturday. What,
right?
What do you mean? Wait, he wasn't selling shit to anyone. That was just weed that dropped out of shit. Like,
yeah, no context whatsoever. Like, who are you going to sell 2 grams? Well, I mean, I guess, yeah. And depending on the time period, it would have been like a $10 gram in high school. But I didn't have any like dealers pushing on the corner. Like I was in a rural area at that time, so it's not like
we were too. That's the thing that confuses me, is where it's like, dude, who is he selling it to? By the way, it's Wisconsin. The shit grows wild. You dig up some dirt and you'll find weed seeds, man. Like, yeah, it's gonna be hemp. You're gonna have to smoke a lot, but it'll still get you high, and that's legal in Wisconsin. Like, what do you mean? We're surrounded on all 3 sides by states that have legal weed. What do you mean?
You're like an island of irrationality. No. Thank you, Ox. I appreciate that. So you mean prison guards. So, in your experience, there are not good prison guards. But where did you go to prison? That's my question. Was it a state-run prison or was it a private prison? I don't know if you want to share. But, I think there's some distinction to be had there. Like, and certain states are going to be better than others. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, like, Kat, like, where are you going to change the system? You can only change it from the inside or attempt to dismantle it. I don't know how well dismantling it is working out for us thus far. But,
Well, I mean, the system... Look, okay, people will say the system is broken. I disagree. I think the system is working exactly as designed, and we need to destroy it. That's my opinion. I mean,
So abolish the Constitution, write a new one, and start from there.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I'm talking. Well, maybe, but what I'm talking about right now is particularly the prison system.
Oh yeah, the prison system. Okay.
That's very clearly working by design, and it needs to be completely fucking demolished.
Well, in order to do that, we need to address the legislative system, though, right? Because they're working off each other. So then we'd have to go back to constitutional liberties, because that's how legislation has worked.
No. See, hear me out. This goes back to my dream at the bottom of a bottle. If everyone was just better, see, because here's the thing: your fellow man is enough. Your fellow person is enough. Like we are enough. There's a possibility of a world where we don't need cops because that shit isn't happening. And if it does, your neighbors help you. Like, this world is so close. It's at our fucking fingertips. We just need to prove that, like, we can fill our own potholes, man. We can help the poor ourselves. We're so fucking close, but we can't quite grasp it because all of the people who believe it are like me and at the bottom of a bottle.
So we just need to trust our fellow humans. But wait. Walk that back, because do all humans need to be trained for cop shit? Like, is neighborhood watch good enough? Can we accomplish just eliminating crime and degeneracy by just doing it ourselves? How does that work?
Well, see, crime isn't a thing. Crime is made up by the government. Now, there are things that shouldn't happen, right? But crime, apologies, crime is something that's made up by the government. Crime is a governmental thing. Like, theft isn't
murder. Wait. Murder is not a crime. Let's go to the most extreme. Murder. If you're taking somebody's life, should you be justified in doing that? Or would that not be criminal? Would that be unjust?
Well, it has no relevance if it's just, if it's a crime. Crimes are crimes. Crimes are made up by the government. That has nothing to do if it's just or if it should be done. Crimes are entirely governmental.
Well, yeah, but there's a reason we do that, right? Otherwise, you'd say it's a sin. You could say it's a sin, you could say it's a crime, otherwise it's unjust. It's all the same thing relatively, right? But we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, this is my dream world where this shit doesn't happen.
Well, I want your dream world. I want to understand how we achieve your dream world, because we're all, I mean, I agree with you there, but how are we getting there? Is my question.
Well, we prove that we can do what the government does, but better. And also do what the government doesn't do. Because let's be realistic, the government doesn't show up when you're like, hey, I'm hurt. But goddamn, they sure as fuck do when you forgot to pay 10 cents extra on your taxes. Right? That's kind of my thing, where it's like, hey, you know, maybe like communities can do this thing and we don't need the whole big government thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
Do you personally feel that you have enough time to spare and energy to spare to go out and do that yourself? Or do you do that? I
do all the positive anarchy I can. If someone wants to buy $5 worth of weed off me, I just give it to them for free. If someone is 50 cents short on, you know, their 40 ounce, I pay for it. If someone needs a blanket, I give it to them. That's really all I'm in a position to do at the moment. But that's what I do. I do what the government won't. Even though I have nothing, I give what nothing I have. That's my, you know, policy at the moment. I would like other people to start doing it with me, and there are some people who also
Well,
do
I
that.
think that's a good philosophy, but all right, but to take it from another perspective, so I work at a bus station, right? And I'm the guy who's supposed to enforce the law. No soliciting, right? That's the law. But I don't really enforce the law. I'm not a cop, right? But I'm supposed to tell you, hey, don't do that. But there's some guy who asked me, he says, I'm $2 short. Do you mind if I ask these guys if I can have $2 to ride the bus? Well, no, I don't mind, as long as you don't bother them. Ask a couple riders if you can borrow $2. Okay. And let's say both of those people say no. Right? Now I'm in a position where I either have to beg charity on behalf of this individual to the bus driver, who's it's ultimately their decision, or leave them to their own devices, right? And I can choose to do either. It's just the flip of a coin for me.
Well, you
And I'm
got
judging it on
$2.
a case-by-case basis. Does this person need to ride the bus today? Or do I think they're probably just going to, do you know what I mean? Are they just trying to use the system? Now, and there's another aspect to that, because people have posited to me that they believe that public transportation should be a right. But then I see people who abuse the drivers, they abuse me, and they abuse the customer service associates, and I say, well, should they have the right to go around and ride the buses after they've been abusive to all these people? Right? Like,
Well,
so there's like all kinds of perspectives to put into that.
let me rephrase that. So, hey, there are people who abuse disability things. Should we deny disability to everyone? No, public transportation, it should be a fucking right, and I think it is according to the United Nations. We don't follow United Nations rules in this country. I don't know if you know that. But, like, water is not a right in this country, and it is according to the United Nations.
So
we can
let
shut
me
off
tell you.
motherfuckers' water, and they die.
So
Like-
our policy, at least here, what we say is it is according to the driver's ability to operate. So if the driver is able to safely operate and does not feel, that they are in an unsafe environment, then the rider is generally okay, right? That's the deal. But if the driver feels that they cannot safely operate the vehicle with the rider on, then the rider has to go. They have to find another way. So that seems reasonable to me, because this guy's dealing with a whole mess of people, right? The driver, and this is just one individual who's holding up the bus for everybody else.
Yeah, like, hear me out. If it was a right, then it wouldn't be a problem. People would just get on the bus and go where they're going.
Well, it's a problem if this person's bothering everybody else on the bus, or they're bothering the driver for some reason.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it being a human right. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to.
Well, then, but you're right.
Like, if
it's
they're being a
restricted
dick,
in that point.
that's different. Like, okay, if someone's being a dick, that's different. If someone's causing a problem, if someone's brandishing a knife, that's different than just, hey, I don't have the money. You know what I mean?
This is my conflict, as I used to be a positive anarchist like you are, but my conflict is that any sort of anarchy, social anarchy, leads towards unlimited rights, right? But if we say that somebody has unlimited rights, then they have the right to be a dick wherever and whenever they want. But we can't actually allow that, right? Like, so how do we proceed from there? Well, then we have to restrict rights, and we go back to like other forms of like, but they're not true anarchy.
Well, yeah, where I was talking was within the system. I mean, in true anarchy, there would be no public transportation. You do it your fucking self.
Right.
Walk, get a bike, or a fucking some guy who owns a bus. Grab your boys and get in the bus or some shit. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, it's two completely different systems, I guess, that we're arguing simultaneously.
Well, no, I just want to clarify terms there. So the fact that everybody should have this right until they
Good.
give us a good reason to tell them to fuck off, right? And then
Yeah.
maybe we'll do that for a time, but not necessarily permanently, right? Because it seems like something that's permanent doesn't make sense. It's unchangeable. So
Oh, well, I mean, that happens all the time, though, unfortunately.
yeah.
Like me in the state of West Virginia.
Oh, you're
What?
banned?
Kinda.
Are you banned?
Like, I was there for a protest, and I managed to get out, and now they're upset at me.
So I haven't been banned officially. Like, oh no,
I
I
don't
was
think I've
banned.
been
I was
banned.
banned for life from a casino for
Look.
smoking illicit substances in the parking lot. But that's neither here nor there because I don't really frequent casinos anyway. But I remember one time I got kicked out of a club for hopping the back fence in the smoking area and going out to eat a sandwich. And I came back and the bouncer was like, "No ins and outs." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I saw you. You hopped the fence." And I got all pissed off, dude. I was shit faced. And I ended up in the tour bus though, which was fucking hilarious because I knew the dude whose band was playing. I got to see DRI that night though. That was my first time seeing DRI. Great fucking show. And DRI and who else was it? I can't. The Queers? No, not the Queers. God, it's like right on the tip of my tongue. Nick Oliveri from Queens of the Stone Age plays with them. Anyway,
Oh.
I got to see those guys, and then I hopped out, went to get a sandwich. I came back, the bouncer kicked me out, and I ended up on the singer's tour bus with a bunch of Hell's Angels drinking whiskey.
Ooh.
And I was like, how the fuck did I get here? I gotta get out of here. I gotta get home. Yeah, I hobbled to my car. Yeah, that was an interesting night.
The problem I had with West Virginia is they take your fingerprints no matter what, whether you're charged with anything or not. So I fucked all the way off, but my ID was there and my bag was there because I fucked off real fast.
Gotcha.
So they have my info, and it's like, I don't want to go back there.
The name of the band, by the way, is The Dwarves. The Dwarves is the band I saw that night. They're phenomenal. But in regards to that, I'm like a weird case because I've been around. I was born in Arkansas. I've been there a few times. I've been to Colorado, New Mexico, around a bit, but like not frequently. Like I did some travels when I was younger. I've been to Alaska as an adult. But the state of California they've got to have extensive records on me. Like there's no fucking way they don't know like everything. Like I'm an open book. Like and we have a bunch of surveillance around here. I've had plenty of encounters with the cops and usually they're pretty pleasant with me. So like I feel comfortable in that way that we're like still on the same page, but I'm also like, big brother. Yeah, big brother.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of look, I used to work security. I used to have to get, fingerprinted every 2 years or whatever. I think it depends on the state. But yeah, I used to have to get fingerprinted and renew my licensure and all that shit. And it's like, hey, the government has all my fucking information. I ain't trying to do nothing bad.
It's funny. I tried to obscure my fingerprints when I was younger. I actually tried to burn them off, at least on my index fingers, and so now I have trouble, reading my fingerprints. Like anywhere I go,
Yeah.
they're always like, "Oh, we got to do it 3-4 times."
Yeah.
But the
Same.
worst problem I have is the one on my phone. The fingerprint sensor on my phone is fucked, dude. It does not know who I am. I'm like, fuck myself there.
I specifically, there is one finger. It's my right middle finger in case anyone is gonna kill me and try and punch in on my job, I guess. Because that's the only thing I use it for. It's my right middle finger is the only one that's not scarred the fuck up. So I use that for all of my punch-ins and everything. Which is fucking incredibly dumb because it's like, hey, we just used our... Okay, they switched it from having just our fingerprints to having to type in an employee ID number and then putting our fingerprint. Like, I'm sorry, do you think a 3-digit number is more unique than a fuck-mothering fingerprint?
It's completely Orwellian. Let me match your number with your thumb.
Yeah. It's like you already matched my fingerprint with my name and my employee number. Why do I need another number?
What I love is that daily I'm being tracked with 2 cellular phones. Both have location monitoring, and there's cameras at literally like every freaking corner. So they're watching me too. So like that's why I was like, there's no way you can't figure out what's going on here.
So I actually make stickers now for a living. I make stickers and labels and shit like that. Shit that goes on top of kegs, shit like that too. Like anything label or sticker related, that's what I make. And we print off a lot of those. I don't know if you have these or if you've seen them, but I used to have to deal with these in security. They're little like QR code stickers that you're meant to scan with your company phone while you're doing your rounds. And I mean, when I did that, when I was working in security, I definitely never found a Zebra printer and reprinted all of them and just scanned them when I should have. I never did that. I would never have done something to that effect. That would just be very poor workmanship.
No, like, the last time I had to do that was for Amazon, and no, that was actually when I started doing YouTube. So yeah, that whole barcode scanning shit. They're finally doing away with it. But wait, on your sticker thing, like, do you have a website or anything like for that? Like, I totally need more stickers.
I can tell you in private.
Yeah, you can tell me in private. Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I'm legally allowed to say. Well, because we print stuff for stuff that's like not out yet necessarily. So,
Oh, but you're just contract through anybody, right? Like as far as.
Oh yeah, we've made like if you want like one sheet, like a regular printer size paper's worth of stickers, they'll make it for you. They will make. We've had everything as low as like a $3 purchase to like $3 million purchases. We just do what the fuck ever. I can't. Once again, in private, I guess I can say things we've made, but it's just like everything from beer to weed to YouTubers to anything you can think of, food products, soap, all of it.
My ex and I, we used. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, that was it. That was really sometimes. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying my ex and I used to do buttons, mainly for musicians, but sometimes other things, and then we did our own too. So she would do all the designs and print them out, and then I would, cut them and stamp them in by hand. We just had like regular button stamper. It was
Yeah,
cool.
the hand
It was
trap
fun.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I suppose we shall go off air, and
All
we
right.
can continue the conversation. Do you have any shills to share before
No.
we end the broadcast? You're not doing anything on your channel?
No. If don't come to my channel, it's a cesspool of villainy. It's the hive of. It's bad. Don't find me. You've gone the wrong direction.
It's not so bad. I want to thank everybody who's been here and everybody who comes by, all the subscribers. There's like 100, almost 150 of y'all. Ox, I had Jody, I had Kat. Did I have someone else? Sammy, yes. Okay, and I think we're good. Good night. Be well. Stay trusty and broadcast. And broadcast? Yes.